Now we welcome to our studio here in Germany our next presenter. Hannah Cordes is Managing Director of Bosch Mobility Platform and Solutions. Hannah's here to present an innovative approach to transport security, exploring critical aspects of logistics, focusing on secure parking for trailers and trucks, and giving us an introduction to the seamless integration of solutions and innovative services into transport management systems, or TMS. Hannah, welcome to the studio and thank you for joining us today. We're very much looking forward to your presentation, so please do come in and join us, and it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And thanks for having me here today. So it's my pleasure to be here. It's my first TAPA conference. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm really looking forward to the next 25 minutes where I will give you a short introduction to what digital technology can do to enhance safety and logistics operations. And I'm looking forward to this session and hopefully some good exchange afterwards. So let me start with giving you a bit of context to what we do at Bosch Logistics Operating System. What we are doing is building a platform which is designed as an open ecosystem. And this open ecosystem is connecting, on the one hand side, independent software vendors, which come from different areas, from telematics, from fleet management, from transport management, and from different areas in digitization, with, on the other hand, logistics service providers, freight forwarders, shippers, and carriers. And what are we doing exactly with that platform, you may ask? So at the core is a horizontal integration layer, which is connecting the data and the digital services of those different providers in a very smart way, so it becomes very easy for customers to consume those services. You may ask yourself the question, why is Bosch doing this? We are famous for household appliances and also for automotive parts. We are doing this because, on the one hand side, we are also active in digital services. We believe that there is a lot of potential in data and digital services in fleet and transportation. On the other hand, we have a right to play because we are basically in each vehicle with sensor technology, so that gives us the right to play. And most importantly, there's a huge market demand. And why am I saying this? Because if you look at the logistics and transportation market today, it's a hugely fragmented market. Most of the players, most of the carriers out there are small and medium-sized enterprises, and they are hugely under-digitized today. So we see a huge business opportunity to also help and support these companies in becoming more digital, in making it very easy to access different digital solutions, and in connecting our own offerings with partner solutions out there. You may ask yourself the question now, if you are a carrier or shipper, so what is in it for me? Why is that beneficial? So let me just give you a quick glimpse of what the key benefits of these platforms are. On the one hand side, it is a very easy one-stop shop for digital services from Bosch, but also, of course, most importantly, from our partners. On the second hand, those services are interconnected, and we are solving real-world problems with those services. I will give you later in the presentations 3 concrete use cases, so it becomes very concrete what we're doing to increase safety and security in the logistics domain. Last but not least, if you are interested to learn more, please come and explore the marketplace. It's on www.l-os.com. You can register there for free and just have a look yourself. Now, I want to give you 3 concrete use cases, like I said, to give you a better understanding of what digital technology can do to make a difference and what integration can really do to improve the access and solve problems which are out there in the market. Let me start by secure truck parking. And starting with a problem statement. So I guess this is no news, but let's dive into the past and understand how the lack of parking has been at the root of cargo security issues. If you look at those very alarming statistics here, on average, the European driver spends 1 hour a day to search for parking spots. There are 100,000 parking spots missing all over Europe. There are 425,000 unfilled driver positions as of today. And if you look at the the size of loss, the EU is publishing those statistics, we look at 8 billion euros stolen from trucks each year. So I don't think I need to convince anyone that this is a huge problem. If you dig a little deeper into the root causes of the problem, why is parking such an issue? There are basically 3 characteristics. Number 1 is there is a low investment in truck parking. So this means insufficient funding has been hindering the development of parking spaces and parking infrastructure. But in the past, providers of parking didn't have the chance to monetize parking areas in the right way. The second root cause is the lack of reservable parking spaces. So today it's still hard to find a suitable parking space along the route and reserve it in advance. Last but not least, if you look at parking spaces out there on the highway, you can see them every day, most of them are in very poor condition. And this is, of course, an uncomfortable situation for drivers, and it's putting a lot of the cargo delivery at risk. Now, how do we make a difference using digital technology here? The claim I'm bringing here with me today is that we are revolutionizing truck parking with a, so to speak, booking.com for parking spaces. You can think of a digital solution where it becomes very easy to for carriers and shippers to reserve parking spaces and to book them along the route, where the availability is increasing because we're working with park area providers. And last but not least, but very importantly, security is improving because the truck and trailer is parked in a secure location. Now, I've come in here with the value proposition or with the hypothesis that integration can really make a difference. And I want to prove this by showcasing what we have done with the leading transport management system provider in Germany, which is called LIS Winsped. So the power of integration is that today what happens in reality is that dispatchers and drivers have to use different systems independently. They're not connected, and that hinders the use of digital solutions. What we have done with LIS is to integrate the secure truck parking option into the TMS, and you can see that here on the screen. So it becomes very easy for dispatchers to book and reserve a parking spot already along the route, which then increases the driver satisfaction because they don't have to search for a parking space for 1 hour a day. It also improves the ETA calculation, which makes the shipper happier. And last but not least, the availability during the route planning is a huge advantage and can save cost from a carrier perspective. So there's really a power of integration if we're bringing together different solutions and making it very, very easy for users to make use of it in their daily life. The second use case I want to talk about today is integrated trailer security. I don't have to tell you that cargo theft is a huge problem. I've just given you the statistics with 8 billion euros on an annual basis of cargo theft in the EU. Nonetheless, there's still it's a problem that is not a key priority for law enforcement, unfortunately. But it is a key priority from a shipper perspective. If you are shipping high-value goods, you don't want to get it lost and stolen along the way. And of course, it's also a priority for the carriers out there. And what I want to show you is how technology can again enable and improve security of trailers. What we have done in this specific case is connecting an IoT device on the one hand side, a trailer security monitoring device, with a monitoring center. Again, it's bringing together different partners. So for the trailer security monitoring, we're using Kearson in this case, which is a company that's providing an IoT device which is very easy to install, which is independent from the energy level because it's solar powered. And it's giving the user the opportunity to have real-time availability of the trailer and also detecting anomalies along the way, for example, if someone tries to break into the trailer. The second service piece, which we're connecting it to, is a 24/7 monitoring center. So virtually, we are able to track the trailer along its journey and then giving a full visibility on any anomalies or anything which is happening which shouldn't happen along the way. again, by connecting those and integrating them into a TMS, into a transport management system of a shipper, that gives the user the full visibility in one system without having to operate multiple systems in parallel. And then also customizing, for example, if in case of an anomaly, you want to have law enforcement involved, if you want to have a security company behind this, etc. The last use case I want to showcase you today, where integration can really help to make a difference, is about driver communication. So why am I talking about driver communication when we're talking about technology? What always gets forgotten, or often gets forgotten, that technology has to be used by people, and for the security issues, a lot of the topics that we're seeing, a lot of the problems which are caused in the market, are in relation with the driver. So what we have done very specifically is to work with a very innovative company called Secu, who is able to provide an agnostic messenger communication service, and we are connecting that to the secure truck parking solution. What does it mean? What is the benefit of bringing those two together? You may ask yourself. There are benefits from a user perspective. For example, there will be a direct communication for the driver. So the dispatcher, in this case, can share access information to the driver directly without any system breaks. This means that the driver receives the information on their mobile app, and there's no additional software needed to install on the driver's phone, because what we see in reality is that a lot of the problems that are happening with drivers are trying to be solved by getting another driver app out there, which is not always picked up. So what we're trying again to do is to reduce the barriers of entry and make technology very, very easy to use. A second advantage in this case is that that there's an automatic translation into the driver's native language, because there's also no news. Language barriers are one of the key challenges today in problems that arise with driver communication. So in this case, the dispatcher doesn't have to know Polish, Romanian, whatever language it is. It is directly translated in a context information to the driver. And that means that the driver, in the example of truck parking, is then able to receive ad hoc support at the parking area. And it also means, for example, you can ask, how do I get into a parking area with a QR code? You can push that information directly to the driver's phone, and it's very easy for the driver to navigate. So to sum up, this means that the driver is more satisfied, and it increases, and that's most important, the security and comfort for the drivers. I'm coming to the end of the presentation, and here's the quick summary of what I've presented today. So my main message has been, we can use technology to really make a difference. It really makes sense to connect the dots when you bring different services and data together and increase the value creation. And with the 3 use cases I've been explaining, there's a seamless integration happening along the transport journey. So at the planning stage, when you're planning the route in a transport management system, you could increase security by already booking and reserving secure parking spaces. Along on the journey, when the driver's out there, technology can really help to communicate and make a very seamless integration and seamless communication to the driver possible. And last but not least, by integrating all of these services into a transport management system, that means that the shipper or the carrier has direct access to the information, to alert levels, and that monitoring becomes very easy and straightforward. I want to thank you for your attention, and now I'm really looking forward to the questions and Q&A session with Sam.
Hannah, thank you so much for that very interesting update. And as you said, I do have a few questions for you based on some of the points that you've made. Let me start by coming back to the parking use case that you presented. How do you rate the actual relevance of this, and how strong is demand from both shippers and carriers?
Thanks for the question. So, as I said earlier, the relevance of the problem is really severe. So on the one hand side, you can monetize it by looking at the cargo theft that happens every year. If you ask carriers and transport companies across the globe, actually, even in the US, that was a recent question, what are your top 3 challenges? Truck parking is always in the top 3. So the market, the customer is giving us that direct feedback that it's really a severe problem. And therefore, we see increasing demand. We really see that with the driver shortage we're facing, there's more and more companies who are also concerned about the driver's well-being, about treating the driver in an appropriate way and giving them also the opportunity to spend the night in a secure location. So it's not only the aspect of cargo security, it's also the driver comfort and driver retention which plays into that.
And how do you think that this is going to evolve in the future, given that there'll be much more electrification in the future?
Absolutely. So on electrification, this is already a reality if you look to the last mile, if you look to the small and light commercial vehicles, where we see an increasing penetration now of vehicles. For truck parking or for trucks in general, electrification will take slightly longer, but nonetheless, you have the first electric trucks out there delivered to customers as of now. And then in this case, parking becomes even more important because the route planning in case of an electric vehicle is more important. You need to be sure that the state of charge is happening. You need to ensure that you have a charge and park facility for the night. Overnight charging is a use case that is very prominent that we're looking in. So we're expecting an increase in demand driven by electrification.
And looking ahead again, what new technology drive opportunities do you think we'll be seeing coming into play, and how long are we going to have to wait for these next innovations?
That's a good question, looking into the future. So personally, I believe there's a multitude of new technologies, which we're only at the glimpse of expectations. But let me start with a couple of concrete ones. So I think we will see in Europe a lot more usage of camera and driver monitoring, inward and outward facing with video. Surveillance. In the past there has been a reluctance to make use of that, but there we are seeing an opening in the market, and video technology together with cloud computing can really make a difference in preventing accidents, for example, to happen. So that's one aspect. A second aspect is on the number plate recognition, on optimizing number plate recognition in collaboration with geofencing. So that will give you also secure zones where you can, for example, park, or giving access to the warehouses will become more automized by technology. And last but not least, generative AI. I'm expecting a lot of difference from that, especially if you look at the usage of technology. So if you don't have to program your own rules, if you can just ask your system on, please give me the recommendation for secure truck parking, for example, it'll become easier to use. So that will revolutionize definitely the technology space in the next years.
And just finally, do you think technology can really provide the answer to today's and the future challenges which we're facing with the global transportation industry?
Well, I hope so. I really truly believe that technology is a key enabler, but I also have to say the human being should always be at the center of every technology. So technology is made to enable humans, and we always have to look at who's using it. So, for example, coming again back to the question of the driver is also at the center of many of the security topics we're facing today. So focusing on driver certification, on driver training is increasingly important, and that can be enabled by technology, but it can never be done without humans.
Hannah, thank you so much for coming into the studio. It's been a real pleasure for us to have you with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks
for having me.
Thank you. I'll let you leave that way and I'll take over. Thank you.